Thank you, Todd, and welcome everyone. I really want to talk about three things today. I want to talk about how Florida's doing. I want to talk about how far we've come, and I want to talk a little bit about where the economy is going. First of all, you're looking at the front page of the Florida scorecard. Note the live population counter on there. You can watch it all day today. It's not going to change. This is a screenshot. However, if you're looking at it on your computer or your phone, then it'll change, and it represents that 900 net new people a day we're moving to the state of Florida. All the other metrics are on there, and you can see some of the goals. Prominent up there is that third grade reading score goal of having 100% of Florida's third graders, reading at third grade level. And that's a great opportunity for us to prepare for Florida's future because we know those kids, when they're reading at grade level, are much more highly likely to graduate from high school and go on to great careers in our future. Now, how's Florida been doing over the past few years? Well, you may remember this headline. I heard some people around the chamber talking about working at the chamber when this headline came out in the Wall Street Journal in 2007. It said, "Is Florida over?" Wow, what a great headline, huh? But what you may not remember is 7 years later, the Wall Street Journal says, "Has Florida found the secret to saving the economy?" And here's what they were talking about. This is our job creation rate year over year since 2010. And you can see during around 2014, wow, you can see Florida really had accelerated job growth compared to the U.S. For those of you in the back, Florida's the dark blue line on the top. The U.S. is in orange. You can see it's fairly flat. What you may not be able to read is the last endpoint there. Year over year, Florida's been growing jobs at 2.5% compared to the U.S. at 1.4%. So we're still growing jobs at a higher rate than the U.S. However, that gap where we were growing more than 1 out of every 10 jobs in this country during that 2014 through 2017 period has closed a little. Now, what kind of jobs are we creating? I get that question a lot, so I want to show them to you here. This is over the last year. Education and health services, number one, nearly 60,000 jobs. Professional and business services, all the way down, leisure and hospitality, all the way down to manufacturing. Maybe a little deceiving here. Manufacturing's not a big number, but one thing we know that over the past 3 years, Florida's been growing jobs at 2.8 times the rate of the U.S. And these other jobs that you see here are diversifying Florida's economy. Mark Wilson spoke about us being number 16th. We want to be in the top quarter, so that would put us in the top 12 as far as industry diversification. What you may not think about is how far Florida has come. I can tell you, I've been watching this metric for quite a long time. I'm going to show you the chart here in just a second. In 2012, we were in the 30s. It's come down substantially, and this is a positive direction for the state of Florida, that now, when we prepare for what, we're going to have an economic downturn at some point in time, Florida's much more prepared because now we're 16th in the country. We're almost exactly as industry diverse as the United States right now, and I think that's a great major accomplishment. Now, where's your area you're from? How are you ranked? Well, this ranks all our metropolitan statistical areas, 1 through 22, and the top industry diverse, MSA right now is Lakeland, Winter Haven. And you can see where your area falls on this. There's an opportunity for every part of the state of Florida to continue diversifying our economy. And we do that by producing those jobs, those high GDP jobs, those high value added jobs that we all know about and that our economic developers are working so hard on trying to develop here in the state. Now, where's the economy going? In January 2018, I decided that it was time for Florida to have some guide for us to tell how we're doing and what we can expect in the near future. So what I put up on the business climate and competitiveness pillar of the Florida scorecard, you can get there by clicking on the gray bar on the front page of the scorecard. You'll see this. Top left says Florida's probability of recession. That means what's the probability of Florida being in a recession over the next 9 months? Well, you can see it's green. That means it's gotten better since the last time. This is up on the Florida scorecard, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I did a lot of research on the last recession. Florida went into the recession earlier than the U.S., came out a lot later. It was basically double the length and more than double the depth on a percentage basis that Florida suffered. So I wanted an early warning system, and we launched this back in January 2018's Economic Outlook Summit that we had. And I want to show you a little bit about the recent history of this. You know, this is the metric I'm talking about here with the circle on the top left. Keep an eye on this because it's available all the time. Just after the jobs report comes out, we'll update this every month. If you ever have any questions, you know, it takes into account things like consumer sentiment. You know, it takes the yield, the bond yield spread, initial unemployment claims. You know, a lot of metrics that are both U.S., but many are specifically Florida, pieces of data. Now, I want to show you the path over the past few months. I want to show you how this thing has changed. This last month was the first time we actually had positive news since April of 2019. You know what's happening. The trade wars are going on, tariffs, all kinds of uncertainty out there, and uncertainty makes businesses decide not to invest in a lot of cases. So I'm very pleased to see, you know, we've seemed to have turned the corner. You know, the bond yield curve is no longer inverted. Consumer sentiment is up in the state of Florida as it is in the U.S. And so, you know, the good news is it looks like we may well have turned the corner, starting to avoid a recession here in the near future. But in either case, you'll be able to see it 24 hours a day on the Florida scorecard. All right, thank you all this morning. I want to turn it back over to our CEO, Mark Wilson. Thank you.